What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be answering a fairly frequently asked question, which is, hey Seatin, I'm a new player, what do I spend my units on? You know, what are the best crystals to buy? What should I spend them on? And the answer, very simply, is masteries. You should not at all spend any units on crystals, and this is something that the game kind of programs you to do in a way, because the first time you get, it gives you a few units in the tutorial, and then it's like you have to auto spend those on crystals and keep buying them, and then you get a little bit like addicted to spending your units on crystals at the start of the game. However, anybody that's played the game for a month or two, you kind of have that sobering moment where you realize that, oh, I should have definitely spent those units on masteries, because masteries are so valuable to increasing your character's progression, the kind of strength of your characters overall, and what you can do. And generally, the drop rates for crystals, another thing that you want to realize, are absolute garbage. They are so terrible, and it's actually just better to efficiently set up your masteries, play the game, and then, progress and earn crystals that way. Because once you get up to a fairly decent level, well, once you're in kind of the higher end game, I guess, you can get anywhere between about 35 to 40 free crystals every week, and that is about £100 or $120–$130 worth of crystals every week just from playing the game. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous the amount of free crystals you get. However, the amount of free units you can get is kind of capped at, even if you grind like quite a bit, it's only between like 800 to 1,000 a week. So the amount of crystals you can get for free each week is a lot more than the amount of units. So hopefully that small tidbit of advice will give you exactly what you need in the mentality to play smart from the start. But anyway, let's talk about what is a good purchase for initially. So we've talked about masteries being the best option, but which ones are the kind of core and basic ones to get? So you want to get 2 masteries straight off the bat. The first one I'd probably suggest investing in is the one called Dexterity, which grants you basically an ability called Evade, which means that when you're swiping back and your character is moving backwards, you'll dodge all attacks. And this is very essential in a lot of kind of endgame gameplay, and also just generally questing. When you get good at evading, you can swipe back to avoid a variety of attacks, and also it's the only way that you can reliably dodge all the damage from projectile attacks. So champions like, Iron Man, Cyclops, and a lot of other champions that use beam-based attacks, you can swipe back at the right time and completely avoid all of the damage from that. So it's very valuable, has tons and tons of uses in the game, and is a kind of core skill set that you need to, be a perfect or better player. So Evade is probably the first point that I go for, and the next one you have is Parry. Now, Parry basically is where you time a block perfectly, when just as the attacker is attacking you, and it will stun them. Now, as a new player, you'll probably want to look at getting 3 out of 3 points in this as quickly as possible, because as a new player, you need the stun duration as long as possible, so you have a chance to react, because obviously when you're new to playing the game, your reaction times are a little bit slower, so the longer the stun, the better. So you want to put all the points in that, 3 out of 3, to increase the stun duration. And then also Stupefy is a really good mastery to get initially. So that's going to cost you, I believe it is, what is it? It's 5 mastery cores, so I think that's about 700 or so units. It's quite a few, so that's you're looking at sacrificing about 7 crystals, but that is like a kind of end game, and when you're getting like 35–40 crystals free every week, so cheap, so great. So guys, do not buy crystals. That's kind of the message that I'm strongly trying to enforce in the game at the start. Do not buy crystals. Spend them on mastery. Is going to be much better in the long run. So let's go into what else is pretty good. So after you've got the Evade and Parry, 2 masteries that you want to be working towards are Precision and Cruelty. So Precision increases your crit chance by 10%, and Cruelty increases your... Oh, let's not do that. Let's close. And Cruelty increases your critical damage by 50%. However, it's not just a solid 50%. It's actually a little bit lower than that. However, it's still really good. So if you have these 2 masteries, you're going to be critting a lot more and hitting a lot harder, which is going to increase the damage output of your champions across the board and make things a lot easier. So those are kind of the 2 next masteries that you want to work towards. And then kind of other masteries that you have towards the right. These are kind of the luxury masteries, ones that you don't have to worry about getting for maybe a few months until you've expanded your roster quite a bit. So there are masteries like Glass Cannon, which reduce your champion's health but increase their attack, which is pretty good, pretty good. I really, really like that one. Then you've got masteries like Despair, which basically for every debuff that you have on your opponent reduces the healing and regeneration effects by 15% per debuff. So when you are using champions at endgame like Iron Fist, Black Panther, any champions that stack like a lot of debuffs, this is really, really, really useful, especially in like stuff like Alliance War when you eventually venture into that. Really, really good. And what else do we have? We have Deep Wounds, really good mastery, makes all your bleeds last 0.5 seconds per point longer, and means that if you have more health than the opponent, it deals a bit of damage instantly every time that you apply a bleed to them. So that's really, really good. So many champions in the game. A good, I'd say like a good 40% of the champions in the game have bleed in some shape or form. So it does kind of enhance a lot of champions and make them good. Then in defense, I guess you have a few bits and bobs lurking around here. Nothing like super essential now, but some stuff is very useful. Like, I find Salve quite useful, especially at lower levels. So this means that your champions recover 4 health twice per second for 60 seconds. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you do want to drop a bit of money on the game, masteries are by far the best investment that you can get for your units. So Salve, I think, is good. I even like it. It's really good for newer players because you don't really have that much health on your champions, but as you get toward the end game, it becomes really, really good. And then you have a few luxurious points and stuff like willpower as well, which isn't necessary, but it's a nice addition to your champion. So if you want to see my full mastery guide for beginners, just type that on YouTube, and I'll probably put a link to it in the description. But that's just to give you a very basic idea of what masteries are going to make a really, really big impact on your game. Now let's talk about, okay, let's say I'm in the scenario where I'm in at the moment, where I have brought all the masteries. I've got nothing left to spend my units on. Is it time to buy crystals? And the answer to that is you kind of always want to have a stack of at least maybe 1,000 or 2,000 units, because constantly throughout the game there are new challenges being introduced which have insane rewards, like crazy good rewards that occasionally do take quite a few revives and reses to go through. So one of the examples I'm going to use is Chloe's Warriors of Awesomeness. So this is kind of a new challenging event that has come into the game, but for completing it, the rewards are crazy good. You get pretty much like a fully formed 4-star crystal. You get a 4-star Awakening Gem, you get some 5-star fragments, and a ton of other cool stuff, some tier 4 basic catalysts. So kind of looking, if you were to value all these rewards put together, they would be probably around 5,000 to maybe 7,000, 8,000 units. So that's kind of one thing that you need to bear in mind, is that if you are kind of an ambitious player and would like to take on these really challenging events, you always want to keep at least a few thousand units on the side, just in case, these events do come up. However, if you are not at all interested in these events and just want to blow your units on crystals, what I would suggest doing, you kind of have two options here, right? And it's either to buy 25 premium hero crystals, or buy a fully formed 4-star hero crystal that is available for 2,500 units, and that offer becomes available whenever you open a few 3-star hero crystals in a row, which as you progress and get more fragments is quite a common offer that comes up. So it's really up to you guys. I think for the more solid path of progression, you do want to buy the 4-star crystal for 2,500 units. Again, it isn't a super great deal, but it is a lot more reliable than buying the 25 premium hero crystals and hoping you get a 4-star champion. As the drop rates for 4-star champions, it goes about 95% 2-star, about 4.9% 3-star, and then about 0.1% 4-star. So they are incredibly low. But if you are somebody who likes to gamble, which definitely was me in my early days of Marvel Contest of Champions, and I really wish that I had a kind of portal where I could go back and just slap myself in the face for wasting so much money on premium hero crystals, but alas, I do not have that. I remember one time very specifically, day where I was pushing for Summoner Advancement for my alliance. We were really struggling on it, so I laid down a full Odin's, and I brought like a couple of premiums. I was going to spend the whole Odin's on premiums. I brought a couple, and then the 4-star offer came up, right? And I had a decision at that point: buy the 4-star offer or buy 25 premiums. And at that time, I was very optimistic. I brought the 25 premiums, and I got like I think it's 24 2-star champions and 1 3-star champion, so I was just absolutely kicking myself for the remainder of the day, because at that point in the game I only had like 2 4-star champions, so it would have been so huge for me to get a 3rd one. So mistakes were made and lessons were learned, guys, but I hope that my kind of, I guess, knowledge and experience has given you guys exactly what you need, all the information on what to spend your units on in Marvel Contest of Champions. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a bit about how to efficiently allocate your loot units. If you enjoyed the video, guys, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, guys, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.